Hello and what is up everybody, it's Thunderbob here, and tonight I'm checking out some more Diablo 2 Resurrected. Patch 2.4 is now available on the public test realm, and I am excitedly checking out as much as I can. The first thing I wanted to try out was Hydra. Hydra is an ability that I've always loved since Elodie first came out nearly 20 years ago. It was the first sorceress I really played through the game with, and even though it wasn't great, I had a lot of fun with it, and I am eager to test out how it's playing now. This is an orb firewall build. I'm going to just real quickly go through the skills and items I'm using. So basically I got Hydra, and its synergies maxed out, and fire mastery maxed out. So, 20, 40, 60, 80 points in fire, plus prerequisites. Lightning, I've got static field, and I'm actually using Enigma. This build, to get it maxed out completely, I didn't have any spare points for teleport. I would probably be using like Chains of Honor or something online, but here I really wanted to test out Hydra with all of its synergies. Online I'd probably back off Firebolt, maybe down to 10 points instead of 20, but this was the only way to get all the way to Orb and max out Hydra while maintaining at least one in Cold Mastery, one in Frozen Armor. So that's where I'm at. Hydra and its synergies. One in Static, I got Teleport through Enigma, 20 in Frozen Orb, 1 in Cold Mastery, 1 in Frozen Armor. So, pretty good setup. I actually ran this same setup pre-patch, and there's a video if you want to check that out as a comparison. I'm using Death Fathom basically just to help boost my orb a little bit. It's not the best for Hydra, but it works here. I've got a Fire Facet in it. Same thing with Nightwing's Baal. It's really to help with the Frozen Orb, but it does have the Fire Facet in there also. Got a Spirit. This is a ridiculous crafted amulet. I know the level on it is busted. This is an old D2 item that kind of carried forward with me over a lot of saves, and I'm pretty sure it was hacked originally. But those stats, I think, technically are possible, though the level requirement obviously is off. Enigma, Sandstorm Trek, SOJ, Arachnid, SOJ, Mage Fist, ridiculous charms. Yeah, so this is kind of the close to the top end I think you can get. There's a few choices you could make. Definitely Flickering Flame I think would probably be better for Hydra than Nightwing Veil, but I don't have a helm handy to be able to build it out, so I'll probably play around with that, maybe do another video when I've kind of optimized it. But I want to do 3 things tonight. I'm going to do Mephisto, because this build has always been really good for bosses. I'm going to do player 8 Mephisto, and then I'm going to try player 1 Baal, mostly because there's enough fire immunes there, and Orb against player 8 difficulty is just not fun. And then I'm going to try player 8 Cows and see how Hydra does against Cows. So let's go ahead and get started. And since this is single player, the map has been revealed because obviously this is a character I've played before. So not cheating, it's just single player. And I didn't even need a stack. That was awesome. Except that was player 1 difficulty. Let's try that one more time at player 8. Okay. And here we are going to do that same thing. Player 8 difficulty. It'll probably take just a couple of seconds longer. I did read that there's a bug right now, though, where the bosses apparently are taking a lot more to kill. Though it seems like pet damage, summon damage, is actually still doing full damage to them, so I'm kind of needing to play around with that. So my understanding is Hydra is doing full damage to them, and that was pretty quick. And something I kind of forget is now you can cycle between your Hydras and your Orb with no delay, which is really, really cool. I want to try out a Meteor build, actually, now that you can do Meteor and Frozen Orb together. That should be fun. So that is Mephisto. We're going to go ahead and do Baal. I'm going to bump this back down, like I said, to player 1 difficulty. Mostly because there are a ton of fire immunes, and Orb is just not, even with this gear doing 800 damage, it's kind of frustrating to play Orb. And I didn't show it, but I do have Enigma on my Mercenary. So, or not Enigma, Infinity. So this is definitely pretty close to top end gear. Last time I came through here, literally every single enemy were fire immune. It was all the Chaos Knights and stuff. But yeah, player 1, not too difficult. So we could drop some of these, so we're ready. You can get 6 of these now. I just love this. It's so much fun now. This is from someone who played... I tried Hydra pre-patch before LOD came out when it did not have a cooldown on it. Though the damage was so low, it was kind of terrible. And then LOD came out and they added all the cooldowns in. They substantially increased the damage, but it wasn't quite good enough. Of course, then they added synergies and they tried to buff it a little bit, and it got better, but it still has never been like completely playable in my opinion. Like I've got some videos showing this same setup pre-patch, and you can kill Mephisto, you can kill Baal, but it's going to be slow going, you know, in 8-player difficulty for sure. And the thing you got to remember is these Hydras are dealing a ton of damage, but there's no AoE component to them. You know, it's doing... I calculated it out, I'm doing, you know, 7,200... and these are fire immune, of course. 7,200 damage per Hydra, and those Hydras each have 3 heads. So that's what, 21,000 damage per attack volley per Hydra, and then you can have 6 Hydras out. So you multiply 21,000 times 6, and then they're attacking, I think it's 9 or 10 times. You're about 1,000,000 damage over the 10 seconds that they're out, is what it comes down to. And Baal's dead. That was pretty damn easy in player 1 difficulty. I'm gonna go ahead and do some cows at player 8 difficulty, just to see with the large density if Hydra can manage or not. So, yep, we'll jump into that. Okay, so we're gonna jump in and do players 8 difficulty cows and just see how this build can handle it. This is, again, very, very high-end gear, so this is not maybe like entry-level Hydra Source setup. I might do like a more middle-of-the-road playthrough later. I just want to really see if this build can hang kind of with, you know, Blizzard, with it's probably not going to do as good as like Lightning Fury. Its single target is the biggest problem. So like if you think about Trap Assassins are dealing kind of comparable damage, you know, like very, very high-end Trap Assassins, except it's also piercing. So this is all like single target. It's not piercing, there's no explosion. These heads each shoot 3, or each Hydra you cast has 3 heads that each shoot 3 fire bolts that deal 7,200 damage or so. So it's a good amount of damage, and particularly on bosses, it is very, very effective. On cows or anything where you've got like a, you know, a high density, I don't think you're gonna quite be able to keep up the damage. I mean, it's working reasonably well here. But a Lightning Fury, Amazon, you know, Corpse Explosion, Necro, Blizzard, I think probably my Blizzard Sorceress in player 8 is more effective than this. It is nice, though, that you can throw out your 6 Hydras and then Orb in between. That's kind of a nice combination. And maybe that damage is close to bridging that gap for AoE. But I do think probably those other Blizzard and Lightning Fury are probably still the go-tos. You know, Hammered In. It is a lot of fun, though, and I think my online Sorceress, when this patch comes out, I'm probably going to respec her for this for a while, just because it's such a fun ability. The other one I want to test out tonight for Source is a Blaze Sorceress. I'm probably going to do like maybe a Blaze Orb combination and see how it handles. It's definitely a lot more mana intensive because now you're able to do both Frozen Orb and Hydra. You know, like you drop 6 Hydras and there is 40. How much mana is that? 42 mana. So like a decent chunk of mana, and then in the meantime, every couple of seconds, you know, every second you can throw out your orbs as well. So a good base of mana is probably important for this. Some other builds I'm planning on checking out. They may not all be up today, but in the next couple of days they will. Plague Javazon, I've got one set up that in pre-patch was doing like 130,000 plague damage. Also, like I mentioned, the Blaze Sorceress, Fireclaw, Druid, Holy Fire, Oridon. Yeah, I got like a bunch of pre-made characters all set up to test some of this stuff out, so I'll try to cover as much as I can. Alders. I think I might end it here. I just kind of wanted to give an idea of the power level of Hydra. I do think it is very, very, very good for single target or like small groups of enemies. I still don't think it's going to be like the best cow runner. And it still does require a pretty decent amount of gear. Like, it's just, to get up to the high damage levels requires a pretty large number of plus to skills. My online source is using like all towels, and I think I'm up to like plus 15 to all. And it's, you know, this is at level 46 Hydra. So that's what, plus 20, plus 26 to all. This is a pretty high tier sorceress here. Alright, well, I'm going to end it there. If you've got any requests anywhere you would want me to test out any of these builds, shoot me a comment below. If there's any special stuff you want to see tested out, I've got a ton of pre-made characters that I've put together from the last couple months. And let me know, and I'll check it out. And if you like this video, if you enjoy what I'm putting out there, please consider subscribing. I would definitely appreciate it. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and have a good night.